Carolyne Daudi, do swear that the information I shall give before this Departmental Committee on Defense, Intelligence and Foreign Relations on the matters under its consideration shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God.
Also verification of documents. Thank you. Before we proceed, I'm sure you're aware that there was an advert that was put in the local dailies asking for petitions and vote memoranda in favor or against nominees. For your case, there was none against your nomination, but there was one that supported your nomination, one that was done by John Katithi Mweke, I hope I pronounced that correct. He's expressing your support. I will pass the copy to members later. But just to let you know that this process conforms with the Constitution and our parliamentary standing order. Article 124A of the Constitution provides that when the House of Parliament considers any appointment for which its approval is required under the Constitution or an Act of Parliament, the appointment shall be considered by a committee of the relevant House. The Departmental Committee on Defense, Intelligence and Foreign Relations is established pursuant to Article 1241 of the Constitution and the National Assembly Standing Order number 216. The National Assembly Standing Order 216 spells out the mandate of the Departmental Committee, which includes to vet and report on all appointments where the Constitution or any law requires the National Assembly to approve. Further, the second schedule of the standing orders allocates the committee, among others, to oversight foreign relations, diplomatic and consular service, and international relations. The purpose of this vetting therefore, is to ascertain your suitability, you, Madam Carolyne Mwende, as our next High Commissioner, Kenya to Canada. I will give you 10 or less minutes to give us the story of your life. The story of your life includes a family, if you want to mention, academic qualification, experience, and any other thing that you think might be useful in support of your nomination. Please proceed.
Thank you, Chair, and good afternoon, honorable members. Good afternoon, everyone in the room. My name is Carolyne Daudi. I'm an advocate of the High Court of Kenya. I'm on my 19th year of practice, having been admitted to the role of advocate on the 15th of December 2005. I'm a wife, I'm a mother of 2. Today I'm accompanied by my husband and my daughter. I'm the last born in a family of 8. And this is my story, Chair and honorable members. I started my career in a small village in Millie. Then it was Makueni it was Machakos district and now Makueni district, Makueni County. I schooled in a local school called Mulumini Primary School, emerged the top girl in the then Eastern Province. I was honored to get a slot at Alliance Girls High School between 1994 and 1997. I thereafter proceeded to the University of Nairobi for LLB, that is Bachelor of Laws, finishing on or about June 2003. I proceeded to Kenya School of Law, but then we used to be exempted. So I was exempted on the 23rd of March 2005. And I was admitted to the bar on the 15th of December 2005. I was a good student at the university. I emerged one of the top students, and a lecturer then, Mr. Chalombobu, identified me while I was still in school at the university. Then it was Faculty of Law, now School of Law, and offered me pupillage in his law firm. I worked there from the year 2005 after admission to 2013, when I opened my own law firm, Kamende DC and Company Advocate. In the year 2011 to 2012, I was employed by the UN as a legal assistant at the International Criminal Tribunal for Rwanda. Then I had two jobs, a job in Kenya and a job in the ICTR, as it is called. My work at the ICTR involved traveling abroad to depose witnesses. We were undertaking an assignment under Rule 71 of the statute that involves deposing and preserving evidence, a process called special deposition for fugitives. It involved interacting with diplomatic relations and diplomatic embassies and missions abroad, because most of the witnesses were fugitives in some of these countries. After the engagement, I returned back to the law firm of Charlo and Associates as an associate advocate, and as I've indicated before, I started my own law firm, which I still run today. I had indicated to this committee that I'm an advocate. In between 2018 and 2020, I was elected as a council member of the Law Society of Kenya as a Nairobi representative. I convened several committees, but notably the Gender Committee, and I'm the first ever convener of a committee to come up with a sexual harassment policy for the advocates. I attached the same to my questionnaire. Between 2020 and 2022, I served the Law Society of Kenya as the Vice President. I convened several committees then as the Vice President. I was in charge of finance, budget, and staff. That made that I interacted with all the members of staff. I was in charge with strategic planning in the Law Society, and I was in charge of welfare. I served the Law Society in a very difficult time as the Vice President, because a few days after taking office, COVID struck, and all these members of the society were on my shoulders. I came up with strategies on how to assist our vulnerable members. I started the care packages then. That meant that we collaborated with members from the Law Society and also members from the bench and the bar, and came up with, can I say, vouchers, shopping vouchers that all the members who are vulnerable were able to get financial assistance and shopping. Between 2017 and now, 2017 and now, I was appointed as the vice chairperson, as the vice chairperson of an African Bar Association. That is an association of all the law societies in Africa, but it has membership across the world. And immediately after serving for 1 month, I was elevated as the president of the African Bar Association. I still hold that position to date. In 2018, I held a huge international conference in the Republic of Kenya. Our guest then was supposed to be the head of state of Rwanda. And in that time, I interacted with the foreign ministers in various countries and all the foreign dignitaries and missions. But unfortunately, he called off or postponed and sent some delegates. So I was also interacting and dealing with the Honorable Attorney General, the Honorable CJ, the Office of the President, then the Head of Public Service, and we got the now current President of the Republic as the guests. So that also exposed me to interaction with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Ministry of Internal Security, and all the other relevant ministries and embassies, because we had several trips to the embassy of Rwanda. And I still serve as the president. I, in that position, also serve as the country representative of the African Women Law Associations. I am the Kenyan representative to that organization, an organization that deals with empowerment of women and children, protection of children's rights. In 2020-2022, I was equally elected as a member of the FIDA, Federation of Women Lawyers Committee, as a member. But thereafter, I was appointed by that committee as their secretary, and I served until 2022. After that service in 2022, and after general elections, the President of the Republic of Kenya honored me and appointed me as a member of the IEBC tribunal under Article 251 of the Constitution of Kenya. We undertook the exercise and finalized the report, which we handed over. I need to mention that that committee, that tribunal, also appointed me as their vice chair, and I had the privilege of coordinating the formulation of the policies and the rules of the tribunal. I am an advocate versed with commercial law, family law, constitutional and judicial review law, and my expansive advocacy and diplomacy exposure suits me or positions me as one of the best candidates for this position as the High Commissioner to Canada. Therefore, Chair, that is my journey as at today.
Very precise. If you introduce yourself, Honorable Millie.
Millie Odhiambo Mabona, Member of Parliament, Suba North, ranking member of this committee. There's my neighbor here who might want to dispute, but I will not allow him.
Okay, we will then proceed with questions if there are any questions. I'll start with Honorable Kwenya.
Thank you, Chair, for the opportunity to engage the nominee. First, I want to congratulate her for being nominated to this position, by the President. And Chair, I have no doubt about her academic and experience in terms of what she's just presented before us. But Chair, you see, there's a questionnaire here whereby we afford the nominees to give details as pertains to the questions that have been raised. And you know, there's something about advocates. They will give you all the good information that you'd want to hear. But when you want to dig into details, there are a lot of generalities and ambiguities, just so that there may be to hide some mischief. And now this being a public appointment, Chair, and I'm saying this with all due respect, you realize that we want details because we have had situations whereby people have been appointed to offices, and especially a position whereby you're supposed to be the AIE holder. Of course, this is a position that needs a high level of accountability. We've seen people who've been appointed to positions, and within a very short time, their net worth just triples or doubles or quadruples or increases to levels that are not acceptable. And we're not able to verify as to whether that is what they owned in the first place when they were appointed, or there's some level of exponential growth that is allowable. And Chair, I'm saying this because I'm looking at the questionnaire, and the candidate has done, the nominee has done that so well in terms of telling us where she has worked, where she went to school. All these details are there. But go to number 21, and I think this is a very direct question. Area. You deferred income, future benefits, and it is well articulated that list the sources, amounts, dates of all anticipated receipts and deferred income arrangement, stock, blah, 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 all that. And the candidate, or the nominee, sorry, has just in one line summarized and said, unpaid legal fees, balances in my law firm, which the amounts are not there, the dates are not there. But on other areas, she's done so well. I mean, is it that it's something about figures and advocates, or it was just deliberate? Thank you, Chair.
I respond.
Thank you. Through the chair. Should I proceed, Chair? Thank you. It was not deliberate, but this is the right answer, because what I have stated there and what I had stated throughout the questionnaire is that I'm the proprietor of Kamende DC and company advocates, and deferred income or future benefits that I have stated there is unpaid legal fees and fee balances. On the unpaid legal fees and fee balances, it's not ascertainable as at today, and the lawyers in the house in this committee will tell you that you need to tax a bill through the court. I cannot say for a fact if I tax my bills against, say, Machakos County Assembly that has not paid me fees for some time, there will be a certain figure that the taxing master, who is the deputy registrar, will give me or will award to my law firm. And that is why the statement reads as it is, because I also don't know the amounts, and I also don't know the dates when this taxation process will be completed and whether I will be able to recover anything. So that formed the basis of that statement, because it's not easy to ascertain as at the date I was filling in this questionnaire. And being a state officer, if this committee approves my nomination, I will be able to disclose as I pay tax, because these amounts will attract tax, and KRA will be able to immediately identify, because the paying bodies will be able to withhold some tax which I must declare and pay. So it was not deliberate that I put it that way. And thank you.
Well, I start guided, but there is always that remuneration schedule of lawyers, just like any other professional service. Because I do not agree with the nominee that she doesn't know how much.
Yeah, point of information. You allow me?
Sure,
No.
sure.
Is that I just want to.
Okay, as a lawyer.
Point of information.
Okay.
The moment you take the matter to the taxing officer, the registrar, the deputy registrar, he taxes, he take out some figures and then give you some figures, and we call it assessment of costs. The moment it is assessed, you are not in control. You are not the one now to control what's to be assessed. You give the figure, and then the registrar assesses it and give you the figure she thinks that's not going to be injurious to the other party, neither to your side. So you cannot tell what you are going to be paid. That's the position.
I'm well informed.
We will need to make progress because
Thank you,
it's
thank
okay.
you.
Yeah. Any other question? And Moses is telling me that there is no more questions. Honorable Yusuf has a question.
Let me congratulate you on your nomination, Madam Carolyne Kamende Daudi. I just wanted to find out why we have a diplomatic representation in Canada. Why is it important? And the second component of that is that we don't do much trade. We don't benefit in any way from trading with Canada. Yet Canada sells a lot of stuff to us. In economic diplomacy, which is one of the pillars of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and our government, how are you going to change that? What strategies would you use to improve on the numbers? At the moment, we sell 46 million worth of goods to Canada, while they sell 110 million. So there's a big surplus, vis-a-vis Canada. And what areas of trade do you think can be expanded? What kind of commodities or exports can Kenya push towards Canada if and when you're appointed as a High Commissioner?
Thank you, Mheshimiwa. Why we have, I'll start with the first question, why we have diplomatic representation in Canada. The answer to that is that we've had, Canada and Kenya have had diplomatic relations since way back in 1963, and we have had good international relationships together with Canada. Since then, Canada has, in the past, supported our strategic policies and other areas like trade, and it has also supported us financially in peacekeeping, and also it has supported us in women empowerment through one of their agents called SIDA in Kenya. It has supported Kenya recently in the fighting this climate change. So the reason we have a diplomatic representation in Canada is because we have close bilateral ties between Kenya and Canada, and the same can only be achieved, the bilateral agreements and negotiations or policies between the two countries can only be achieved through having reciprocity, in the sense that we have one in Kenya, and we have an embassy in Kenya from Canada, and we have another one in Ottawa, Canada. There has been low trade volume, that is true, between Kenya and Canada, and the reason for that is because there is no market access to our commodities in Canada. and there is unfavorable trade balance between Canada and Kenya in that they export more than they import from us. The economic diplomacy avenues that I would want to pursue is first to ride on the framework that is already there between Canada and Kenya. I'm aware that there was a second by-commission meeting in April 2021 in Kenya, where the Kenya Private, that is KEPSA, Kenya Private Sector Alliance entered into an agreement between Canada Business Chamber of Canada Africa Business Chamber for trade, economic exchange. So I would want to engage with that framework and see what areas we need to improve and implement, find out whether that engagement is still on, and come up with policies, if any, to assist Kenya in achieving the goals, and also leveraging on the trade activities between Kenya and Canada. You asked about the stuff that we sell. I know we export coffee, tea, live plants to Canada, and textiles. The textiles being what we make at the EPZ. But that is not commensurate to what we buy from them, because they export to us textile that is worn, textile, wheat, helicopters, and other machineries. What I would intend to do is to come up with policies that can expand this trade relationship between Kenya and Canada. Look out for businesses in Canada, come up with strategies to enable us have a balanced trade exchange between the two countries. Perhaps maybe if I am confirmed, I would want to look at all the bilateral agreements between Kenya and Canada. I'm aware that we have a partnership in the healthcare, in that Canada has supported an initiative in health research. Those are some of the areas that I will look at. Establish partnerships with the businessmen and women in Canada, and also make and come up and propose policies that can assist us in having a reciprocal trade arrangement.
Honorable Millie.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, let me declare that Carolyne is known to me, but I have no conflict of interest. So I'll proceed. I just want to find out, other than the fact that you are a very good lawyer, you have also been fairly engaged politically, both in LSK and in political parties. And I've seen something where you are in Jubilee, I think, in elections, and perhaps others that you have also said, UDA, and your appointment is also political. I just wanted to find out whether you have put in place mechanisms to represent the country and not the party. Whether you are aware there's a difference between the party and the country. Thank you.
Please respond.
Thank you, Mheshimiwa. And thank you for the compliment on that I'm a good lawyer. Yes, I have practiced law both domestically and internationally. I have also been involved in political, that is professionally, because I was elected twice to serve a professional body. And while serving the professional body in 2018 to 2020, I still held a position in a political party, in that in 2017 I was appointed as a National Elections Board member by the Jubilee Party. I will start by saying that while serving the Law Society as a professional body, I did not in any way make any decision based on my political affiliation. And that is the professionalism that I intend to carry on to this position if this committee approves my nomination. And again, I will also start by saying that once appointed, I automatically become a state officer, and my commitment will be to serve all Kenyans, the country at large, our Kenyans living abroad, and create and establish good relationship between Kenya and Canada, and also between Kenya and other global states that I will interact with. Therefore, my answer to that is that political affiliation or not will not influence any of my decisions. In any event, the country will have sent me there as Kenya, not UDA party, and the duties and responsibilities of a High Commissioner are well outlined in the statute, and there is no room for going outside those duties and responsibility. Therefore, I commit to this committee, and I say that I will be able to discharge my duties professionally and true to the oath of office that I will have taken as the High Commissioner to Canada if the committee approves my candidature. Thank you.
No,
Chair, does it mean that you will carry less of yellow wardrobe?
I would rather you ignore that.
On a light note.
No, ignore that. Please ignore that,
Thank you.
Madam Carolyne. Now, we've listened to you. I want you to speak to our hearts, convince us why we should confirm your...
This final question before. About the students, because that's the major thing we have in Canada. All these other things which have been answered.
I want to request also that, when we're engaging you be present in mind so that we don't have to come back again when we're concluded. Please ask the question.
Chairman, sorry that you did not see my ad, and this is my opportunity now. Our nominee, Wakili, as you have been, it has been said you have been so much engaged with political activities and some other local political activities here and there. And also you have been complimented to have been a very good lawyer by my colleague here, but she didn't quote a high-profile case which you managed to participate in or win at a particular time. But I think that that compliment is good. Now, you have been very active in FINDA matters. And you know FINDA, as it is a federation of women lawyers. When you participate in the Federation of Women Lawyers' rights, what about men lawyers' rights? Is there anything like that, or that when you were forming that, when you participated in it, was there a formation of making sure that you are human rights activists, not women rights activists alone? Especially like now when we have the problem of boy-child. Because you may be a very good lady, but you have no man to marry you, because the men are finished. That's a problem in Kenya we have. But finally,
Chairman,
finally,
point of order, is it correct to give misinformation? Because our chairman is a man, Honorable Memusi there is a man, the speaker is a man. How can you declare that men are finished?
The young generation, I'm sorry about it, Chairman, I did not classify. The young generation have been finished by second generation liquor. And like in some places, we have no children, even classes, where you have to have 1,200 students in school. Now we have 50 and so on. They will score. So what are you doing about it as an activist? Now, when it comes to this Canada issue, you are going to a country which a number of students from Kenya have been applying to go to study there. And they have what we call visa caps. And they are not allowed to go freely to acquire education as they are supposed, because of some limitations from the mother country, that's Canada. What are you going to do about it to see that our students, especially the Kenyan students, are not going to have it rough when they wanted to go to study there? And also this diaspora labor work. When you're exporting labor and so on, still they have that problem of whereby they're thinking that the foreigners, students and the laborers, or the people who are seeking jobs there, are going to spread some strains of problems, strains of disease and so on. What are you going to do about it, Caroline? Because it is your major work.
Please respond, Madam Carolyne.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Let me start with your first limp of the question about feeder matters. Yes, I have served FIDA, that is Federation of Women Lawyers, between 2020 and 2022 as a member of the disciplinary committee, and that disciplinary committee had also elected me as their secretary. Concurrently, I may inform you that is the time I served the Law Society as the vice president. So I was simultaneously serving all members of the society, that is both male and female, and the women, that women outfit of lawyers. So therefore, during that time, I championed for welfare of all Kenyans, because as the vice president, I interacted with the members of the public in PIL cases, an example being that I took up actually on a pro bono basis the Kianjakoma matter that is still ongoing. My answer to that is that I did not and have not in any way selectively and discriminatory championed the girl